Bowl Sunday. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Hope your favorite team plays. I unfortunately will not be watching the catching highlights as I highlight miniatures and play games. Unfortunately, I still can't afford to get my webcam, so my plan is screen and screen setup where you can see me doing my arts and crafts as I play video games because you know what? I can't just do one thing. Um, I'm very ADD. I do not believe in multitaskers. I think multitasking is it is a crime. No, it's not a crime. It is an exaggeration to claim that anybody is a multitasker. There are people who are taskers, and then there are people who can fluidly reprioritize their activities. And this is what I'm talking about in the sense that I have a tendency to optimize my time as best as I can. There's a lot of downtime when I play video games, load screens, waiting for lobbies to fill up, waiting for companions to get on. I don't really want to call them friends on this game because quite a number of people I play with. They're not technically friends. A friend is somebody that you will allow to use your toilet. And honestly, while a lot of these guys and gals are really great people to play with, I don't know them from Adam, and until I get to know them personally, know their birthdays, how they take their coffee, if they drink coffee. Coffee is a requirement to be my friend. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I really can't call anybody a friend until I know them enough, and they know me enough that I feel comfortable explaining to them or discussing with them topics that you wouldn't normally discuss outside of, say, family or friends. So, friends list is just kind of a social media thing that they throw out there because it's generic and it's easy to understand and it's and that's fine. But these are gaming companions and cohorts and allies. So like I said, there's a lot of downtime when I play video games. Um, because the games I play wait on people to fill into a lobby or join into an instance and stuff like that. So during that downtime, I'm either jawing my head off like I am right now on mic while I stream, or I'm crafting or drawing or sketching or painting. Um, at the present time on my desktop, I have a 18 by 24 canvas that I'm working on. I have two factions of armies for Warcry. Last night I just finished up the terrain for that. It's a project for a friend. Yes. Um, a real friend because I know him in real life, and we know enough about each other that we feel comfortable talking about politics and philosophy without anybody getting butthurt. So, and then of course there's the usual tidy up chores and stuff like that. My workspace is just down, is just a small ways away from the. Well, I have a small place, so it's very easy for me while I wait for a lobby to fill or a game to load or an instance to load, that I can run down the hall, knock off a few dishes out of the dish load from last night, and or start or rotate a load of laundry, fold some clothes, dust up, clean up, whatever. So I'm always doing something. I'm always active, and this is the work ethic that I've had since I was very little. I grew up in a household of chores, and my parents were very clear on the fact that we're doing these chores not because we need to get stuff done and you're available and you are of an age that we can trust you with the tools to do these chores, but really because they wanted to instill in us the idea that humans being is one thing, but a human doing, human acting, that's more important. So even if I am in a state of relaxation, my mind is off in imagination lands, scouring the outermost regions of creativity for ideas and inspirations. I don't vacation like some people do, where they just unplug and shut off. Um, even if even something as minor as a picnic at the park, I'm studying the color of green versus the day's light. I'm analyzing the musculature and skeletal structure of the animals and people around me. My brain is always on the move, so it's just the way I am. I'm sure that there are many times, though, there are many times, there have been many times where I will just sit back and zone out, and like an hour will pass, and I'll be like, "Holy shit, how did that happen?" Um, but even then, I come out of that and I have a fresh idea or a fresh perspective on doing something is not required of me, but I just naturally always am doing something. So that is out of the way. So you understand that when I go into dead air, it's because I got sidetracked with something else while I'm streaming. So I apologize in advance. Anyway, topic of this stream is Conan Exiles on the PlayStation 4. You can find me as Artist Poet. No spaces, dashes, underscores, or X's in that. Just Artist Poet. I'm on the PS4. You can find me that way if you want to play along. Or if you just want to jump into a chat while I am streaming and talk shit, whatever. Um, so, I want to bring up that whole friends list thing. Don't play games to make friends. Play games with friends. In other words, while I would not consider these people to be a close friend, someone that I know and can trust to not, flip out of their perspective when discussing politics and philosophy and that kind of stuff. Um, Play with people as though you would play with them. Play with them and respect them as though you would a friend. Okay, that's the way. That's what I'm saying. Play games with friends, not to make friends. A lot of people see playing games socially as a sort of surrogate for Facebook, Twitter, or an extension of those mediums. And while gaming is socially orientated more now than it ever has been before, on video games that is, once upon a time video games were the basement dwellers domain. Um, but now they are a form of social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, um, and yeah. But anyway, um, but too many people get in the games and they play and they treat people like just high functioning NPCs. Do not treat the people you play with like high functioning NPCs. That is wrong. That is a lack of empathy, a lack of patience. I see it so much, especially in PvP based games like Conan Exiles and Destiny. Um, I see a lot of people just really being toxic to each other. And okay, I get it. You might have stress and pressure outside of your gaming world. In the real world, you might have those things to deal with. And a game might be a place where you can go ahead and unload that. But if you need a punching bag, there are plenty single player modes in all of these games. You don't need to take it out on an actual person in the game. That's just that. All it does is create more negativity for you to find a place for. It's a, what do they call it? A sympathetic feedback, I think, or something like that, or a positive feedback loop, um, where the more of this you put in there, the more you're going to want it. The more that you do put in there, it's like the more angry you are towards people in the game, the more angry you're going to get. Whereas if you take the moment to take back and have that patience, have that persistence. Um, Patience is everything in your world. If you really want to find out why you struggle, if you really want to really understand why people are not being understanding of your desires, apply some patience to that situation. Take the time to step back. Patience and perspective. That's what everything is in art for me. All art is just patience and perspective as far as the technical process is concerned. Um, you have to have a point of view, and you have to be patient enough to understand that your point of view is going to be more or less unique to yourself. You might share similarities with other people's points of view, but there will be differences over time as you get to know this individual or group. And if everybody just puts forward a little bit of patience and applies a little bit of alternate perspective, you find that the world is not as complicated as everyone wants it to be. The world is not as divisive as everybody would like to think it is. Um, Patience is the one remedy to fear. Patience is the one remedy to ignorance. Patience is the one remedy to hate. Patience is the key that unlocks all the doors for your prosperity. Uh, so patience, and that's why I like to play games, because games help me train my patience. Games help me develop my strategies for patience and persistence and perspective, and then I prosper as a human being, as a social human being from those experiences. So, again, back onto the topic: Conan Exiles. How to pick a server that you will want to main base in. Now, you see my setup here. This is the server select screens. Uh, I am filtering for officials only because I don't want any private servers, and I am doing all combat modes in all regions. Now, normally I would just do Americas, but as you look down at the bottom right hand header bar, left-hand header bar that says servers 673, 500 first displayed. Use a search and sort to make your server appear. So if you got more servers than what is being displayed, because the server list will only display 500 of these things. What you want to look for is you want to look for a server that has low ping. All right, that's the first thing you want to do. As you see, the ping can go up to 493 in the EU, European Union. Oceania has 487. That'd be like I think Hawaii and Australia, if I'm mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I don't know where Oceania really falls. Like my geography is Latin America. Now, a lot of people would like to claim that American servers are the same as Latin American servers. That's the LATAM. No, these are actually South American servers. Okay, you can see the ping is pretty darn high. So typically, if you narrow your region to your actual region, in other words, if you're playing in the European market like England, go to England, go to EU. If you're playing in Japan, pick Japan. If you're going into Oceania, pick Oceania. Recommend you play America. Now, a lot of players like to play on other country servers because it does have high ping, and I don't know what the benefit to that really is. It just seems like shenanigans, and that's also a burden on other players. So again, be patient. So the first thing you do is you sort up a ping. You take the lowest ping server. Now, as you can see here, we have server 3791. It's got 10 players on it, and it has a 33 ping. Now, there's a bunch of 33s right here. They start about there and go up. In that 33, you'll notice that I have a server here, 3822, where I have a max level character. Now, this is only because he is one of my older characters. Now, I do have multiple characters in the game. You cannot have multiple characters on a server, as we all know, those of us who are playing Conan for more than a few months. But if you're new to Conan Exiles, you've been on the fence for about the past 2 years, kind of heard everything you could about this game, maybe you've watched some videos, dive right in. It's a fun game to play. There are many people out there who are willing and eager to help you level and explore the content. PvE and PvP is a fantastic mix. PvE conflict is a bit of a weird beast, but if you are just interested in dueling player versus player or small team tactics, PvE conflict may be for you because PvP is all about base destruction, land claim, and domination. Uh, which is not the way the game really needs to be played, but it is what people default to because they're used to that environment from Ark and Rust. So I play the PvP because I like to do little fort battles. I don't really feel the need to raid anybody. I don't think that the game is loot restrictive in that sense. That unless you're exceedingly lazy, and it's honestly it takes just as much effort to grind bombs to break a base than it does to actually build a stairway and lure bosses up to that to get loot. Um, and just with a couple of overworld boss eliminations, you will end up with enough loot and experience points that you can actually go ahead and take dungeons on and grow the content. But anyway, so as you can see, I have a level 60 here, and I have a level 16. Now, back in the game first started, that first couple weeks I did, like I've mentioned probably in other videos you may have watched if you ever watched them. I spent the first couple weeks after the 2018 PS4 official launch, um, actually just jumping around different modes, different servers, just checking out the community. I followed the game since its early streams from the European market, but it was back on PC, and then of course then when the Americans got it and started steaming it. I followed a lot of the videos. I understood what was going on with the game. I knew what to expect when I went into the game. And I deliberately chose PvP. Now, I did play some PvE servers, but I found them to be very, very restrictive in the fact that at the time, people were able to build over and around resources. And in PvE, you have no way of breaking walls or busting down doors to get to those resources. There's no way for you to contest because once you build, as long as your team is still signing in, those land claims will stay there forever. It builds a very static gameplay, for my opinion. So that's why I like PvP, because it offers that dynamicism. Now, unfortunately, because you have that dynamicism, you will eventually get people who are just going to be trogs, and that's just the nature of that game. So that's why I like to say, anytime I incorporate myself into a group of players, I start talking about applying some patience to your gameplay and encouraging a community sense instead of just a competitive sense. Um, so how to decide which server is best for you. No, this is going to be something you do over about 2 weeks. All right, so it's going to be a time investment for you. What you do is you go ahead and you just grab and build a character on any of the 33s that you find. Okay, then over the next couple weeks, whichever 33 is, whichever character has the lowest ping on your list, what you do is you pick your. Then after you build your characters, then you pick your list by level. And as you can see, I've got all these different characters here. These are the ones that I'm working with, and 3822 has the lowest ping for right now. So, whatever character over the next couple weeks has the lowest ping, just play that character. What happens eventually, but still spawn into these other guys. Um, but don't play them. Just spawn in to reestablish your base and all that stuff, and then but play the one that has the low ping for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on however long you actually have set aside to play Conan Exiles. Honestly, sometimes I only have about 20-30 minutes to play Conan Exiles. Um, so what I've been doing here is that these two right here, these are older characters, so they don't really count in this experiment. What I'm doing with these guys up here is that any of the ones that are higher than the lowest ping, like the lowest ping I have right now is 54. So I already played him today, and I leveled him. He was at level 14, and I leveled him up to 16. These other guys, I'm just going to sign in and touch off on their claims to make sure that their bases are still active and everything like that. But I'm not actually going to play them. So after 2 weeks, whichever of these 5 guys are the highest level, that's apparently going to be the server that is the most stable. And now, if you have the time, some people don't. But I'm signing in the mornings like now, and then later this evening, just a little bit around the end of raid hours, like from about 9 or 10 o'clock if I can. I'll be checking the list again then. And now I won't actually be playing anybody, but I'm just going to make a note of who has the lowest, ping at that point, because sometimes a server might have low ping in the morning, but they might go really, might spike up to 132 by the evening. It all depends on the raid window, and of course, if you have time to play during the raid, obviously play during the raid. So just an idea, just a little strategy you could do for yourself to if you're scouting a server that has a nice stable community, has a nice stable ping on it. It doesn't necessarily too. As you can see, these guys have 9 on right now. These guys have 6. This one has 6. Uh, this guy was not 33 when I first signed in this morning. When I was playing this character, this character down here was on a server of about 99 ping, and see how that ping has dropped. Okay, and this is part of the reason I think is because it has such a low population overall. Um, but yeah, so like I said, these 5 guys I'm running this little test on. I want to see how it works out, and I'll be back with an update video when the time is appropriate. So in the meantime, go ahead, play games, have fun, play the game you want to play. But if you find yourself feeling frustrated with the game, if you find yourself feeling like you're grinding with the game, try changing your perspective a little bit. Try a little patience, and you might be surprised on just how profitable that return could be for you. Enjoy. Play more games.